A mechanic just quoted you $3,000 for a repair that costs $200 to fix yourself. Another shop is selling you parts you do not need while ignoring the real problem. And that diagnostic fee you paid last week? They never actually diagnosed anything. Here's what hurts the most. You are getting scammed and you do not even know it. The difference between boat owners who get ripped off and those who do not is not luck or mechanical knowledge. It is knowing these 13 scams that dishonest marine mechanics use to drain your wallet. One boat owner paid $8,000 for a lower unit rebuild that only needed a $70 seal replacement. We are breaking down every single scam, including the one that is costing you hundreds right now. Let us get into it. Be sure to like if this video was helpful. This is the most expensive scam in marine repair. Your outboard loses compression or runs rough, and the mechanic immediately recommends a complete powerhead rebuild that costs $6,000 to $8,000. But most compression issues come from carbon buildup on valves or stuck piston rings, and those can be fixed with a decarbon service that costs $300. Dishonest shops skip basic diagnostics and jump straight to the most expensive repair. They will run a compression test, see low numbers, and tell you the engine is done. What they will not tell you is that a leak down test and bore scope inspection would reveal the actual problem. Before agreeing to any powerhead work, demand a leak down test and bore scope inspection. If the mechanic refuses, find another shop. Your outboard runs rough or won't start, and the shop calls saying you need a new high-pressure fuel pump for $800 plus labor. But 90% of fuel delivery problems come from clogged fuel filters, not failed pumps. Replacing your inline fuel filter and VST filter costs $60 total and takes 30 minutes. Dishonest mechanics know most boat owners never change fuel filters on schedule. Instead of replacing the $15 filter first, they sell you the $800 pump. When a shop diagnoses fuel pump failure, ask them to show you fuel pressure test results and confirm they replaced all filters first. The scam shops skip this step because filters do not generate enough profit. You bring your boat in for service and the mechanic calls with urgent news. Your water pump impeller is failing and needs immediate replacement, or your engine will overheat catastrophically. The quote is $400 for a part that costs $40 and takes 45 minutes to install. Impellers should be replaced every 2 to 3 years as preventive maintenance. But a failing impeller shows specific symptoms, overheating alarms, weak telltale stream, or steam from the cowling. If your engine runs cool with strong water flow, your impeller is fine. Protect yourself by asking to see the old impeller and requesting photos of the damage. A truly failed impeller shows missing vanes, cracking, or severe wear. You pay $100 as a diagnostic fee, and the shop calls back with a quote for repairs. When you ask what they found, they give vague answers about needing to replace parts to see if that fixes it. That is not a diagnosis, that is part replacement gambling with your money. Real diagnosis involves systematic testing with proper tools. For electrical problems, that means using a multimeter to test voltage and continuity. For engine issues, it means compression testing, leak down testing, and scanning for fault codes. Scam shops charge diagnostic fees but do not actually diagnose. Before paying any diagnostic fee, ask what specific tests will be performed and request a written diagnostic report. Your lower unit makes a slight noise and the mechanic tells you the gears are damaged and need complete replacement for $3,000. But most lower unit noise comes from worn propeller shaft bearings or simply a damaged propeller creating vibration. Both are cheap fixes that dishonest shops inflate into major repairs. A proper lower unit diagnosis requires draining the gear oil and inspecting for metal particles, checking backlash between gears, and testing bearing play. If the oil comes out clean amber with no metal flakes and gear backlash is within specification, your gears are fine. Demand to see the old gear oil and ask for specific backlash measurements before approving any lower unit work. Your trim motor fails, and the shop quotes you an OEM replacement for $800, when a quality aftermarket unit costs $200 and works identically. This scam relies on fear tactics about aftermarket parts being inferior. Many aftermarket marine parts come from the same factories as OEM parts, just without the manufacturer's branding and markup. Dishonest shops push OEM parts exclusively because their markup is higher. They will tell you aftermarket parts void warranties or fail quickly. But that is rarely true. Ask your mechanic if they will warranty the aftermarket part with the same labor guarantee as OEM. For non-critical components like trim motors and steering cables, quality aftermarket saves you 60% with zero performance loss. A shop might quote you a carburetor rebuild on an engine that actually has electronic fuel injection. They count on you not knowing your engine specifications. Most modern outboards, from 2000 onward, use electronic fuel injection, not carburetors. Variations of this scam include selling carburetor cleaning on electronic fuel injection engines or claiming your fuel-injected engine needs carburetor parts. Protect yourself by knowing your engine model and fuel delivery system. Your owner's manual clearly states if you have electronic fuel injection or carburetors. Any shop claiming carburetor work on a fuel-injected engine is either incompetent or dishonest. This is pure fraud, banking on customer ignorance. Spark plugs are one of the highest margin parts in marine repair. Dishonest shops recommend spark plug replacement during every service, regardless of actual condition, because it is easy profit. Modern marine spark plugs last 300 hours or 3 years under normal conditions. Replacing them every 100 hours is unnecessary. When a shop recommends plug replacement, ask to see your old plugs and inspect them yourself. Look for worn electrodes and heavy deposits. If the plugs look clean with minimal wear, they do not need replacement. A truly worn plug shows electrode erosion, heavy carbon deposits, or insulator damage. Your battery tests weak on a basic voltage check, and the mechanic immediately recommends replacement for $250. But a proper battery diagnosis requires a load test, not just voltage measurement. They also conveniently skip testing your charging system. A weak battery often results from a failing alternator, not the battery itself. Demand a complete load test and charging system verification before replacing any battery. The load test applies actual draw and measures voltage drop under stress. Charging system testing confirms your alternator produces proper voltage. Without both tests, you are buying parts based on guesswork. You pay for trailer bearing service before a long trip, and the shop charges you $150 for bearing inspection and repacking. What they actually did was pump new grease into the hubs without ever inspecting the bearings. Real bearing service requires removing the hubs, cleaning the old grease completely, and hand packing with fresh grease. The scam shops use a grease gun to pump new grease in and call it service. This does not remove contaminated grease or inspect for damage. Ask your mechanic, do they remove the hubs or do they just pump grease? If they are not removing the hubs, they are not properly servicing the bearings. Bearing failure on the highway destroys wheels and can strand you by the roadside. Your engine runs rough. Instead of diagnosing the actual cause, the shop recommends a $300 fuel system cleaning service. Fuel system cleaners do not fix failing injectors, bad fuel pumps, or contaminated fuel. Dishonest shops sell cleaning services because they are high profit and do not require proper diagnosis. If your injectors are clogged beyond chemical cleaning, or if your fuel pump is failing, no amount of cleaner will fix the problem. Before paying for any fuel system cleaning, insist on a proper diagnosis, including fuel pressure testing and injector flow testing. Cleaning services are preventive maintenance, not solutions to diagnosed failures. Your boat suffers damage covered by insurance, and suddenly the repair estimate balloons to 3 times what the same work would cost a cash customer. Dishonest shops inflate labor hours, add unnecessary repairs, and use only premium parts because they know insurance pays. The scam includes adding repairs for pre-existing damage unrelated to your claim and billing for premium parts while installing standard components. Protect yourself by getting independent estimates and by reviewing the repair list carefully. Question anything unrelated to your actual damage and request itemized invoices showing parts installed with serial numbers. You pay for winterization service, including fogging, fuel treatment, and oil changes. The shop charged $300, but they never actually fogged the cylinders. They used the cheapest fuel stabilizer, and they skipped the oil change entirely. You discover this in spring when your engine has corrosion damage or will not start. Real winterization follows specific procedures. It includes fuel stabilization at the proper concentration, complete fogging of all cylinders, fresh oil and filters, and lower unit oil changes. Demand a detailed checklist of winterization procedures and ask to observe critical steps like fogging. Legitimate shops welcome customer oversight because they are doing the work properly. Please subscribe if you want more boat owner protection videos. These 13 scams separate boat owners who get ripped off from those who do not. Know these scams, demand proper diagnosis, and always question repairs that do not make sense. Your wallet will thank you for decades on the water instead of decades funding dishonest mechanics.